Yes, but for alpine?
No, just cross country.
Yeah, just cross country. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I do any sort of skiing, but
Okay.
but not in your only cross country in Yorkshire.
Wow.
Could you do alpine skiing?
Kate Abbey does it with me.
I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
was
get
gonna say, there are some mountains, aren't there? Or hills, at least.
Yeah, it's great.
I reckon it'd be doable.
Yeah.
Good evening.
I'm looking on
Pete
eBay now
Francis.
for some of those. Go on.
How are you, Pete?
Good, thank you. Definite
Yeah.
lack of being on the water, but things have got in the way, so there's other days.
Yeah, I heard that some people score today?
They did, yeah, I'm gutted. I was meant to be there today, but I just couldn't make it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. You there, Richard? Did you get out?
No.
No?
No, not at the moment. Too cold.
Follow John and Caroline's lead. They've been getting out, haven't they?
It's positively warm today.
Yeah, it's in double figures here.
Yeah.
You're in your 2 millimeter shorty today, were you?
Me.
I was. I got the reaction I was hoping for then.
Yeah.
How is El Medano anyway?
It's awesome. It's really good.
Did you say it was the first time you've been?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Place,
it's taking it. Yeah, look. Yeah, it's. I mean, the place also, not just the windsurfing, but the place is great as well. There's lots going on. Busy.
I was there last year at a place called La Tagita, which is the nudist beach just round the corner.
Of course you were, Rich.
Yeah. Well, you would have been, wouldn't you, Rich?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise us.
Right in the locals, I was.
Yeah, I bet.
Windsurfing.
No, I didn't do any windsurfing, as it turned out.
This gets worse.
like to join in with the local community, don't you, Rich?
I do, yeah. That's why I go to Fraysthorpe.
Yeah.
That's a nudist beach, isn't it?
I've never seen one there.
Yeah,
in the 20 years I've been going, I've never seen nobody there, but it used to be years and years.
Depends who's there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big sign as you go in, isn't there? This is not a nudist beach.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Have you been
Not
recently,
anymore,
Pete?
yeah.
Apparently there's a load of the gone.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've just seen it on the group chat about it, but I don't know if that's more than what I expect, because one of the signs had dropped off last time I was there. You know, the car park sign. One of them had dropped off last time I was there. So.
Not one of the bloody cameras.
No, not unfortunately, not the camera, just the sign.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, missed you there. There you go.
Just preparing. Who else have we got? Good evening, John. Mr.
Hi.
Pickering.
Hi there.
You right, dude?
Good.
Yeah. Have you been out on the water?
Been out on the ice and the water.
Ooh, nice. Excellent.
Pretty cold.
Yeah, I bet. Not very jealous.
You just go flying as you get on the water.
Yeah. And good evening, Jeff.
Yeah, evening, everyone.
Have you been out, Jeff? There are a couple of people who've been out at West Kirby.
Yeah, it's not perfect in wind direction for me, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not a great southerly fan in West Kirby, but no, I haven't.
Was it really southerly?
There was some southerlies, and when it's cold and southerly, I'll give it a miss. Yeah, so wimped out. I'll be honest. Yeah,
I don't blame you.
I'm in your neck of the woods this week, though, as you know. So
yeah, looking forward to it. Good forecast as well.
How long are you going for? How long are you going for? Sorry. How long are you going for?
I'm going for a week. I'm getting there on Thursday for a week. Yeah, it looks a bit flat though, the forecast. I'll be honest. I know we've still got a few days left, Ollie.
It changes a lot. Like when I looked this morning, it looked really good from Friday onwards, and then I looked at lunchtime and it looked rubbish again, and then it looked good again this afternoon. And then I don't know what it looks like now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it anyway. We'll make the most of it. Don't worry.
It'll be good. It'll be good. Yeah, cool stuff, guys. Then we'll make a start. So this is the first night of doing some kind of topic to have. So I thought for tonight, because most of us sail in them, is to have a look at maybe stop spinning out so much in choppy conditions. You might not all do it, but I'm sure at some point some of you have, and maybe still do. So I'll have a little bit of a chat, but if anybody's got any questions at any point, please feel free to shout out, or if anybody wants to add anything.
Spin out,
if they feel
out in flat conditions, not just choppy conditions.
Yeah, we can do it in flat as well. It generally happens more in choppy conditions.
Sorry, Ollie, I interrupted. I'm interested in how to avoid, just how to make it easy in chop. Not just spinning out, but just so that you kind of have a nice time as opposed to knacky and ease, and something how to control chop, how to say.
Yeah, so I mean, like I say, this is great already that you're telling me what you want to do, because then I know what we want to talk about. So we'll start. I'll just get some photos up. I've got a couple of bits here.
I tend to spin out the faster I go.
Yeah, I mean it's a good question to start with. Actually, is at what point do you, or if you have span out, at what point does it happen, and on what gear does it happen more often? Just shout out.
Everything I've got.
The
two boards. The two boards.
And it happens when you go faster.
I think it does.
My biggest failing is that I don't ever bother changing any of my fins, contrary to what sail I've got on.
Oh, I never changed.
I can keep
this is a. Go on, Pete. Carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so irrelevant of whether I've got my thruster set up or not, it's always my thruster set up. With me, I think it's a 15 or something like that, and then a 10 thrusters. And if I've got a 5 meter on, or I've got the 7.5 on, I'm still on the same fin setup.
Yeah, I spin out when I'm on a little fin.
Yeah, that's quite common. I'm sure Pavel at Sailing a Freestyle Board can tell you what it's like to sail on a little fin.
Yes and no, but to answer the Georgina's questions, I prefer, if it's choppy condition, and there is a lot of wind, I prefer to go smaller fin, because then it doesn't hurt the feet so hard. So it's easier, and a smaller fin and this freestyle board, you have to more load the rail than you load the fin. At this moment, you have too much pressure on the back foot, then you spin out. But if you pressure the rail, or more just or the board, or the front foot, then everything stays stable. And you don't hurt your feet so hard with smaller fin. This is my impression, and this is why actually I have now 3 fins, 18, 20, and 22 centimeter, and I choose them depending on condition, on how much wind and chop it is. If it's a lot of winds, then I prefer to have smaller fin. But if it's little wind and I go for low wind freestyle or something like that, then I take 22 centimeter fin.
Yeah.
You still leave your thrusters in?
Sorry?
This is freestyle board, Pete.
Yeah, freestyle board,
But I mean, we've already brought up quite a good point, is that when you're spinning out, the equipment you're using makes a huge difference. And what Pavel said for Georgina, I would agree with pretty well, to be honest. If you find you're sailing in choppy conditions, you're not spinning out, but you're getting very tired, it's probably coming from the fact that you constantly need to push against the drive that the fin's giving. And if the fin's giving a lot of drive, it generally comes because the fin's bigger. Big fins give more drive.
What do you mean by drive, Ollie? What's your definition?
It's like lift.
Drive?
It can be lift.
Right.
You could describe it as also. So lifting the board out of the water, but also is how hard you need to push on your back leg to keep the board engaged.
Right.
On a smaller fin, or like freestyle boards, for example, we sail off the front foot a lot. So we don't use the back leg much, and we don't use the fin much at all. And so we don't get very tired because we're not pushing into the board very hard. Yeah. And that frees the back leg then to absorb chop. So it's very flexible, the back leg. You see a lot of people, I've seen it quite a lot at Grimwith, especially on free ride gear, is bouncing over chop but staying very stiff in both legs. And as soon as the board lifts a little bit, if it comes off the back of a wave, the moment it comes off the back of the wave, it'll lose the grip. Yeah, because you need to be able to allow the back leg to bend. So as soon as you start taking off out the water, the back leg can bend. You don't push on the fin so much. And then as soon as you hit the water, you can load the fin back up again. Does that make sense?
What's
loading the fin up again? What do you mean by that?
Let me share. I'll just turn the video on. I've got so I'm just going to do a little bit of drawing here. So when you're sailing in a straight line, you're pushing into both legs. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
The more you push into the front leg, what happens?
Going downwind.
Go downwind, and what do we also do?
Flatten the board.
Yeah, we flatten the board by creating pressure to the mast foot, and the board goes downwind. Yeah? When you push into the back leg, what happens?
Sink it.
No, if we're pushing it, we're not pushing sort of down into the board. We're pushing on an angle into it.
So you're going to push it upwind.
Yeah, you push it upwind and also load the
fin.
Fin, yeah. So that's what loading the fin is it's pushing the board upwind. And what happens when you do this is it creates lift. The fin starts to push upwards and it lifts the whole board up out the water and makes it fast. Yeah. If you're not doing this, you'll struggle to go upwind on free ride gear or on racing gear or on wave gear as well, depending on how many fins you've got. Yeah. The more you push into the back leg, the more drive you'll get off the fin, the better you'll go upwind, and the faster you'll go. Yeah?
So are you talking push the board away as such or down?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're trying to keep the board out in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than being over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see the front legs in this picture, the front leg straight, the back leg's almost completely straight as well. So I'm pushing into that back leg to keep the board away from me, and it turns the board up into the wind.
But then when I come on to chop, I naturally come over the board more. So what do I do?
Yeah, but that's exactly what you need to do, Pete. If you're watching, so if you constantly push like this, let's say hypothetically there's a 40 centimeter fin in the bottom of the board, and that gives 40 centimeters worth of resistance back against my pushing, You with me so far? Which means I can push the fin to a certain extent. If I push too much, then I'll cause the spin out. Yeah. So the spin out's caused when there's too much pressure going into the fin. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're 40 centimeter.
My problem, Ollie, is that when I'm going really fast, I sort of think, and there's too much chop, I think, oh, I'll head upwind because then I'll be better, I'll be more in control rather than downwind. So I probably put, without thinking about it, more pressure on the back foot to head upwind.
Yeah, you will do.
To get out of that horrible situation of being well overpowered and going far too fast. Yeah.
So that's exactly what happens. So
you shouldn't do that. So you should not.
I'm gonna just wait. Hold on a second, George. I'm coming to it now. So let's say. So we just recap that bit. So you're pushing into it. Say a 40 centimeter fin gives X amount of resistance back, so you can push with X force. into the fin before it spins out. If you go over a piece of chop and the board takes off the back of the chop, what essentially happens to the fin?
Leaves the water.
Leave it.
It comes out the water. Say it comes out the water 5 centimeters. How much fin have you got now?
35.
Yeah, so you've lost 5 centimeters of fin, which means you've lost 5 centimeters worth of whatever X is. You can't push as hard when it takes off. Yeah. If you were to continue pushing at the same speed, at the same force, you may well spin out because you've got less fin to push against. Are you with me so far?
So that means you have to come more upright over the board as you lift off.
Yeah. Exactly. So as soon as you feel the board start to lift off, you let the back leg flex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you land, you do the opposite.
Once it lands, you re-engage.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you get more going in a straight line? Wouldn't you get more air around the fin though, because it's just been exposed to more air at the back of the board, and then it's plopping down? So would it be trapping air around the top of the fin?
How do you mean, Jeff?
Because a fin can get turbulent, can't it, if it has air around it, I would imagine. So if you're coming over a chop and then dropping down again naturally from the chop, would it trap air around the top of the fin?
Yeah, briefly,
and create more spin out?
I think as the fin re-enters the water, you would have a brief couple of, maybe, I don't know how long it would be, something talking milliseconds, really, where the air's stuck, but it would then release.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can start to push again.
What Jeff said, I have heard this theories about spin out too, that the fin is getting the air under the board and the air is captured around the fin. And then I was sailing in a spin out position for quite a few seconds also, and in order to get rid of it, I had to go downwind, quite heavily downwind, and then regain, because then somehow this air around the fin is released. So there might be something around that somehow this air gets captured.
Yeah, exactly the reason for it getting captured. That's a bit beyond my understanding of physics, to be honest. Somebody else might be able to. But like, for example, if you're sailing through a lot of white water, where there's lots of air in the water because it's been churned up by a wave, you're more prone to spinning out then, because it's more likely that air can get stuck in the fin, which means, again, if you're sailing in a lot of white water, you can't push upwind as hard. Yeah. It's the same if you're sailing. If I was on this gear, so this is a 7 meter and it's a big board, like 150 litre free ride board, but let's say it was super choppy, I also probably wouldn't be able to push as hard upwind. Yeah. Because naturally you're sailing in chop, therefore it is more likely that some air can get stuck around the top of the fin. Yeah. And as soon as the air is stuck around the fin, 40 centimetre fin, 3 centimetres of air stuck around the top, it's now 37. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
with me so far?
How do you know it's coming? It's because like you'll be going along and all of a sudden it'll just go across. How do you know it's coming? When at what point do you?
Looking at the water state.
When the board leaves the water.
So what do you do at that point where you're looking at the water state? What kind of water state? You're looking for a gust?
No, where you're looking at waves. You're not looking at the wind. The wind's something separate. But you've been looking for waves or small bits of chop that could potentially upset the board. Okay,
so what do you do at that point then? Go onto the front leg more.
So as soon as you feel the board start to take off, so say you come over a bit of chop and the board takes off a little bit, you let the back leg flex. Yes, so you'd bend it a little bit under you. How much you bend it depends on how high you've come out the water. Yeah.
So are you standing upright a bit more or not?
In that, it's the same. It's kind of the same thing because you're pulling the board under you a little bit. Yeah. You don't want to stand up. If you just stand up, you can stand up, but keep the back leg straight. And the moment you stand up, then you're just going to push down into the board. Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to stay off the side of the board, you stay committed to the harness, and that back leg just flexes. Yeah, so it flexes and pulls the board under the bum or away from you. Yeah? You're either pulling it towards you, under your arse, or you're pushing it away. You're never bringing the body this way, up over the board. That's, as we know from other things, to stand up straight over the board is less than ideal. Yeah?
Yeah.
Anybody any questions
Yeah,
so far?
so you flex your back leg, and then and then what do you do after that when you land? Do you extend it a bit, or do you keep it flexed?
Yeah, you'd extend it back out again.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like back leg's like constantly. Yeah, that's why I'm sure you've heard people say the back leg is like your suspension. Yeah, and people used to say that a lot, but I mean, that's exactly why. Yeah?
I've got two.
It can push a lot. So it's pushing, a little wave, it flexes, you re-engage, back again. Yeah? It's working like that constantly. Really good videos to watch it. If you watch the slalom PWA, if you go on YouTube and watch all the guys, the back legs are constantly working. Yeah?
Two questions.
Caroline, go on.
If you're getting a lot of spin out and you're not able to control that, should you change to a smaller fin then?
You're getting into tricky questions. So you can do a lot of things. If you're spinning out a lot, what have you got too much of, essentially?
The pressure on the back foot, on the fin.
Yeah, there's too much pressure going into the fin. For one reason, it could be your back leg. You could just be pushing too hard. You might just try and transfer the weight into the front leg a bit. But it could be because you're overpowered. Yeah, so say you're on a 5 meter, but it's really strong wind. There's naturally going to be more pressure in both feet because you're trying to compensate for the power in the sail. Yeah?
Yeah.
You could be spinning out a lot because you're sailing on a fin that's too small.
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You could be spinning out because of the type of fin. Also, so for example, freestyle fins are very prone to spinning out when you first start using them. Wave fins can be as well sometimes. Depends on the type of wave fin. You know, there's a lot of reasons, but if it's happening a lot in a variety of different conditions, then it's because of the gear. So if you find you spin out on the same gear in flat water, in waves, and in chop, I would probably look at the gear. Yeah, maybe the fin's a little bit too small, or you've always taken a sail that's too big.
So rather than go to a smaller fin, you might go to a longer fin.
If you're spinning out all the time, then I would go up, slightly bigger fin.
My other question, which I think you may come on to, is if you are spinning out, what do you do then? Like it's going across.
Next part. We'll look at that now.
Could you just while you're looking at that, Ollie, could you, if you're spinning out a lot, bearing in mind you're talking about pressure on the back fin, if you move the mast foot forward to flatten the board, would that alleviate the spin out?
It would help a little bit, yeah.
Right. I guess it's process of elimination then.
Yeah, so you see, this is the thing. This is the problem with windsurfing. There's always there's so many different factors that could be the cause of the problem, and to find the root problem can take a while sometimes.
What you need to do is all sail on the same kit.
Yeah, but for example,
we'd all have to be the same
Caroline,
weight, wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly. So me and you, Caroline, I will spin out on a 5.2 meter sail with a 20 centimeter fin a lot earlier than you will.
Yeah.
Because I'm heavier, I'll put more pressure in the fin just because I'm heavy. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So there's all sorts of different factors to account for. But broadly, if you're spinning out and it's just happening in chop, so say, let's take Grimwith as an example, and we don't all sail there, but the close where you launch from at Grimwith, it's generally quite flat or flatter, and on the other side, it's pretty choppy. If you're only spinning out on the other side, it's something to do with your technique. Yeah. If you're spinning out all over the place constantly, there's probably something wrong with the gear and the gear's relation to the wind. So it could be that you're on a sail that's too big. Could be the fins the wrong size. Yeah. Could be that you need to move the mash track forwards a little bit. Yeah.
And Ollie,
go on,
and then what it is then, it's technique, because it's always the other side.
and Ollie, what about
there we go then.
What about engaging rails more? Does it works also on the race on the freeride boards?
I think it's a hard one for with the wave boards because they're so wide. It's difficult to put it on its side and be comfortable in that position. As we've talked about before, I think you mentioned it, Mr. Runcorn, that slalom sailors, they engage the leeward rail of the board. They'll put it on the leeward side slightly. Yeah, when they're sailing, especially upwind. And that'll help them deal with chop because it'll cut through it rather than bounce on top of it. Yeah. But for me, with the free ride gear, it comes, I would say, more from the back leg working really than putting it on its side. To put it on its side, it'd be quite a difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of technique. On smaller boards, wave boards, freestyle boards, etc., they're very thin. It's easy to put it on its rail, as I'm sure you'll know, Pavel. So if it's a smaller board, freestyle wave board, small ones, then you can stick it on its windward rail slightly, and you'll find you'll come upwind a lot better through chop as well.
Yeah. This is what I experiencing. So this is when I get a spin out. So I'll at once know that I had too much pressure on the back foot, and I'm just automatically going on the rail and just trying to move my center of my body and the more pressure on the through trapeze lines on the mast foot, and then perhaps a little bit more pressure on the heels, not on the toes.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And I mean, can be good practice. So, George, this might be something you might try. Is to sail when you're going upwind, is take your back foot out the foot strap and put it just in front on the rail.
Yeah,
you could have a go at that. Yeah, I mean, but you're not the only. I mean, professional freestylers do it. Even professional wave sailors do it as well. Because there's not enough fin to push off, so there's no point in even having the foot there. Move the foot forwards and stick it on the rail. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how I cut wind all the time. Even in chop, it's quite difficult to do it in chop because obviously you're not your one foot's not attached to the board, but then you've really got to work just to let it flex. Yeah. All the time when that back leg is flexing, you need to be 110% committed to your harness. Yeah. So you're always staying low. It's why I like high boom, really long lines. It makes doing that a lot easier because you're constantly hanging off the boom as much as you can. And then the back leg, it's almost effortless. You let the back leg do what it wants to, really. Yeah. The shorter your lines and the lower the boom is, the more you stand up over it. And then you're going to bounce constantly and you'll bounce out your harness lines and potentially spin out a lot more as well. Yeah? Any questions? Everybody with me so far?
And should I head more downwind then? Or not? Because I do head a lot upwind. When I'm overpowered and it's choppy, I tend to head upwind.
I think most people do. If it's really too much, then you don't really have a choice. but if you can, you kind of bite the bullet and pick up a bit more speed. Yeah. If you're going to start bearing back off downwind, go back into the back strap. Don't stay out the back strap, because as soon as you start picking up more speed, you'll want full control over the board. Yeah. And because you're not going upwind, you don't need that rail so much. The board can be a little bit flatter. And then it's the same principle. Stay low in the harness, let the back leg flex. Yeah. You've got to imagine that, you know, so the chop alters the level of the board in relation to you. So say this, where my knuckles are, for my bum, board's bouncing like this. But I want to keep my bum in the same place all the time so that the sail stays relatively still. Because if I start bouncing, everything starts moving, and then you start bouncing out the harness. Yeah. So if this can bounce, but I need to stay still, what has to move and what has to adjust constantly?
Knees.
Yeah, either a back leg or even both legs. Sometimes you might have to bend the front leg a little bit as well to allow everything else to stay in the same place. If the legs don't work, something is going to suffer. You're going to fall out the harness. You're going to spin out, which is a big one. Yeah. Something like, say here's your bum. This is the board. The board bounces up, but your legs stay in the same place. The same amount of drive. As soon as you land, the fin's is going to lose. Yeah. And then we all know what happens afterwards. Normally a big crash. Yeah.
So back to go on.
Go on, Caroline. Go on.
So back to what I was asking was, how do I know when spin out's coming? You were saying in chop, you know, when it gets a bit choppy or there's some chop coming, whatever. But on flat water, it still can happen, or am I imagining that? Or
it can still happen. The principles are the same. You've got too much pressure going into the fin. But
how do you know it's coming? That's my question.
Yeah, you can't tell on flat water. You can't tell when it's going to come.
Right. So I guess.
So over time, you can understand. Like for example, this Patrick, I've sailed it that much. I know exactly how hard I can push it. But that's just because I've spent hours, but hundreds of hours sailing these boards. Yeah. You need to do the same with yours. You get out on it loads and you try and push it upwind. You could do it in a couple of sessions. You could learn. If you really go out and think, right, I'm just going to see, you know, how hard I can push the fin. Like how much pressure can I put in the back leg to get the board upwind before it spins out? Yeah. And then you've always got a reference point. Then you know, okay, well, last time I pushed this hard, I should be able to get that hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously your chop and stuff like that is changing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we all still awake?
Yeah.
Nobody's nodded off yet.
No.
You can throw a spanner in the works though. When it's a strong undercurrent or a rip underneath, that'll spin you out.
That's another. You got another factor as well, Pete.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Just in case you have enough to think about.
Yeah. I'll leave it. I'll park that one then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a northeast Yorkshire seal, even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or growing.
Slipping about.
I
or another windsurfer.
Yeah. Stop.
You know, Caroline, when you're saying that you sometimes spin out on the flat water, I quite often do that at Broomwith when you're coming back from the far side. But it's almost always you've overtaken a wave and you just come over the wave and then you suddenly get less grip and it flies out from underneath you. So it can appear flat, but when you think about it, you've just gone over the lip of a wave going the other way with the waves.
That's your wake, Pete.
And that's my wake.
Create a massive wake, so I just sort of spin out all over it.
Cheeky bugger.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's great. Again, like for me, I spin out in the waves. If I've done a big wave ride, so let's say the wind is coming this way, yeah, and I've gone on a big wave ride downwind, and I'm turned around and I'm trying to get upwind as hard as possible. Yeah, I almost always spin out just so I just push it too much. Yeah. Same thing at Grimwith. Let's say you've gone across wind this way. You've gone across the pond like this, and you get to the side, you get off, and you think, "Oh God, I've gone a long way downwind here, having a lot of fun, and now I need to get upwind really hard." And when you're getting upwind really hard, you go over a little bit of chop, something like that, and the pressure in the fin becomes too much. It spins out. Yeah. Are we all clear on why it spins out? Yeah.
So the board's going up and you're pushing too much on the fin, plus there's some air getting underneath. Then it is there, is it?
Yeah, it is there. But if you think about it simply, when you partially leaves the water, the fin just gets smaller. The amount you can push, the amount of surface area you've got to push against has also got smaller.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah? It's like on if you really wanted to look at it and you overdid it, it's almost like you've got no fin. If you know, like if it went right up, there's no fin, so you're pushing something that's not got anything to block it.
Exactly. There's nothing for you to push back against you.
Yeah.
Obviously, the bigger the fin, the more you can push. The smaller the fin, generally, the less you push. Now, next part is how to realign it once you've span out. This is, it's not particularly difficult to do. It can be a little bit scary because you've got to quite violently pull the board downwind to realign everything. Is anybody here comfortable realigning the board after it spins out?
Yeah.
I tend to go more downwind.
No,
Jeff. Yeah.
It never works for me. I have to say.
I've seen you done the entire length of Kefalos Bay spinning out.
And half of Grimwith as well. I'm quite happy going sideways.
It looks cool, man. Well, you don't need to go forwards; just go sideways. One thing
to depower. I mean, one way is just to depower the sail, isn't it, and slow down and then pick up. But
yeah,
it'd be cool to know how to sort of keep the speed going and get rid of the spin out.
You see, I keep my speed going, and I just pull like hell on my back foot to bring it under me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good, Pete. That's it. That's all there is to it. You stay low in your harness, and you pull the back leg under your bum as hard and as much as you can. Okay. Yeah. So the board at this minute is moving in this direction. Yeah. And therefore the momentum also is this way. Yeah. You spin out and the board now faces this way. The momentum is still in this direction. Yeah. As we know. So you're spinning out, board's kind of facing upwind, going sideways. Yeah. All you've got to do is realign the momentum that you've been carried in and the board itself. Yeah. So if your legs are on the board here, easiest way is to pull this leg under your bum, and that will pull the tail back in line, which will realign the board, and then the fin will grip again. Yeah.
Which is why you said you spin out when you're hard pressing upwind. It's the same theory then, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Then you're doing the opposite to realign it. Yeah.
So do you do that by bending your back leg, like you were saying you needed to do anyway? But is that how you do it? You bend your back leg and bring it underneath your bottom.
Yeah. So Caroline, if you sat on a chair, you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's put your leg out and imagine you're in a foot strap. Yeah. So the board's out where your straight leg is. Yeah. When you're spinning out, your back leg generally is completely straight and you're kind of just hanging on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now imagine that you're in the back foot strap, so the tail's where your foot is. Get the tail under your bum.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Bend your knee.
Yeah, you just pull the board under you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all there is to it.
It's scary though, because it accelerates. Well, it is for me because it accelerates like hellishly when you get it back in line. So
it's terrifying. It's a really scary thing to do because you're spinning out and you're going sideways at speed, and someone's telling you now you need to, exactly. Normally, you realign the board and it then accelerates even more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I just slow down and it seems to sort itself out.
This will also do the same thing, George. Eventually it'll realign itself, but to stop every time if you're spinning out a lot or prone to spinning out, you don't want to have to constantly stop to realign it. You see what I mean?
So then in theory, Ollie, if you were practicing chop hops, you'd be better off just pulling your back leg in when you go airborne, wouldn't you? Because otherwise you're just going to spin out every time you hit back.
Yeah, it's why we do that when we jump.
Yeah.
Is you pull the back leg right under your bum.
Because of that.
And at the yeah. Exactly. Because if you keep the leg straight, you'll land and just the board will be gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you also can do is that when you pull your leg under your butt, you can also open the sail a little bit so it will not have the same power, so you will not go so fast. So you can combine these two techniques.
That's nowhere near as much fun, Pavel.
Sorry, I haven't heard. What was that?
I said that's nowhere near as much fun. It's not as scary. Nowhere near as fun.
But if it's very overpowered, so you can open the sail and just pull it underneath, and then you get the board going again. So then you can shit in again.
Yeah,
I give that a go.
Yeah,
I'm up for that.
It's like I say, it's quite a scary thing to do. I'm sure everybody that can do it is a bit scared. But if you can just slow down as well if you don't mind doing that. For a lot of people, like if we're trying to get back up wind fast, if you spin out, you don't have to stop. Now, if you're sailing at Roller Island in a strong current and you're spinning out while you're trying to get back up wind, you don't have to constantly stop and get pulled back downwind by the current. Yeah. So it's a very useful skill to learn, and it will transfer into other things. Like pulling the back leg under your bum is very useful for your entry to calf jibe. The same thing. To bear away, help you bear away. If you want to learn to jump, it's very useful. So it's a good skill to have, and definitely one that I would be trying, especially if you're not completely overpowered. If you are completely overpowered, then I didn't tell you to do anything.
Yeah, let's face it, we like scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
We wouldn't be doing it otherwise.
We wouldn't. Bonkers. We're all bonkers.
Oh, sorry guys, I did actually this is a little video this was Cabezo Bay yesterday. You can kind of have a little taste of what Medano has to offer. So this is the main wave spot here. So we see the waves breaking. And then you've got further upwind. There is this place up here. So this is completely flat up in the corner, and you can launch out of there, and it's flat up until where like these wingers are here. There's two wingers where the cursor is. And then it's like bump and jump conditions out the back.
What's this, yesterday, or is this historic pictures?
This was yesterday.
Is it? Oh, it's good.
Is this full wetsuit weather or shorty, Ollie?
I've been in a 3-2, Jeff. The past 2 days it's been comfy. It's not been too hot.
Full length?
Yeah, full one. Yeah, full length.
Okay.
Before that, it was too hot.
Right.
But like now, these trade winds have kicked in. It's got a bit cooler. also like need to been wearing a jumper during the day.
Right. Okay.
Now,
So
how is the South Bay? Is it as flat as this, or is flatter?
South Bay is similar.
Okay.
The thing I don't like about the South Bay at the minute is unbelievably busy. There is people. There's so many windsurfers, wing foilers, and kiters all mixed in together, and it's a little bit. It makes me a little bit nervous, to be honest, because there's a lot of kiters and wingers that you're sailing behind them and you watch them not look before they jibe.
Okay.
And that always puts me on edge.
Yeah. Is this near the? Are you talking about near the Duotone Centre, Ollie?
Yeah, exactly. The TWS. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pain. That's where I went out and get tangled up with all the kite surfers. It's a nightmare.
I've been sussing Cabezo out, Jeff, as a spot is much nicer, to be honest.
But I have to say, because that left where you went left there, there's a big grey hotel there, which is where I stayed there. I stayed there, and I was watching the surfers there 2 years ago. But it looks pretty scary at times though, because there's some waves can kick in there, isn't it? But I think you're saying it's pretty safe. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it isn't, but it looked pretty scary.
Up in this corner, it's quite all right. When you get down here, then it can be a little bit, because you've got this rock. Can you see this rock here?
Yeah.
This comes out, so like it's called Godzilla. It's not a very nice. I had a little introduction to it yesterday. Right. I was picking a sea urchin out the bottom of my foot last night, which wasn't very nice. But up here, it's fine. It's okay. And then once you're out into here, it's like wind swell. It's like a little bit bigger than Grimwith, because there is also, you can't really see it, but on the horizon, there's a big harbour wall comes out to where the cursor is. And that takes out a lot of the power from a lot of the wave. The waves right on the corner down there are very big. But we'll stay up here and windsurf out into here, put jibes in, back into here, into this little flat spot, use this flat spot for a nice little teaching area.
So what's that? Just over 20 knots in there on yesterday's?
Yesterday, this was like, it was up to 30. And you see, it's not that big, the waves.
No, if it's 30 knots, it's
like
still relatively
high.
flat.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's like it was 40. We had 45 was the max today, and the waves it was smaller than when we were at Osniger on the last clinic. It was a lot smaller.
Right.
It was just hella windy.
So where's El Medano then? Is that El Medano on the left?
This is El Cabezo, so this is the bay north.
Right. So El Medano.
This is here.
Right.
And then El Medano's down here.
I got
You've got all there's the TWS Centre. Were you at the TWS Centre last time, Jeff, or?
No, I rented at Duotone. Ollie. So went straight out
down here
near the coffee shop.
Yeah, so there's 3 here. There's Duotone, TWS. There's one in the middle, and then there's one the other side of it. There's 4, and the kiters, they all launch off this beach here. And then the wingers and the windsurfers launch out here, and everybody's windsurfing is a small bay. It's not a big place, and there's a lot of people in here, and it gets a bit hairy.
And when you are keeping your equipment, where are you keeping your equipment? In Cabezo somewhere, or is also?
Danny's Centre's here. The Danny Centre looks onto Cabezo.
Okay.
It's right on the edge. It's right on the beachfront here. So we take the gear and then we'll walk up to here, rig up on the beach, and then we can launch out of here, or we can walk a bit further around and launch off here.
And the gear is rigged, or you have to put it back into your.
No, we have to rig it.
Rig it, okay.
Yeah.
So
we take it. We'll go down to the beach, have a look, see what it looks like. Grab the gear, rig it up.
Okay.
Do the sessions, de-rig it, put it back in the center.
But the rigging is on the sand, or you have some grass or something?
No, there is grass, and there is like some like sheltered pavements as well. So there's lots of spots to rig up that are sand and wind free.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was
Not
it
very
today.
jealous.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be, Pete. This was it today. It's not a great quality. You see also today the waves are pretty small, and this was like 45.
Well, that's saleable, isn't
Not
it?
such a good video, that one. No, it was a lot of fun, but the waves weren't, it wasn't something like, I mean, a lot of people think El Medano is like a crazy wave spot. It's not crazy at all. It's just, there's waves. It's like Lost Niger.
I hope it's saleable, Pete.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm doomed.
You'll be great. You'll be great out there.
Yeah. Actually, Mike, I was just going to say, I'm joking.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Are they nicely spaced waves then, or are they decent sets in between them, or are they?
I think when if you have a good swell forecast, then it is meant to be good. There was probably like 7 seconds, 8 seconds, maybe in the period. It's very similar to Ross Niger, Pete. If you've sailed at Rossi,
yeah.
It feels very similar to there. Also, the direction of the wind and the wave, like it's a very good spot for if you want to learn to jump.
Yeah.
Jumping, forward loops, anything like that's fantastic. Wave riding, it's so. It's okay.
Yeah.
The good thing is the waves don't have a lot of power. They don't like barrel like that crumbly waves. That is again like Rossi. It's not like some big heavy like South Africa or something like that. It's going to eat you.
Excellent stuff. Good on you.
Very sort of
enjoy.
risk-free.
I'm sure you will.
Great place.
Going to be lots of videos.
Good stuff. Keep them coming.
Right then, guys.
Very good.
I think we are about done. Does anybody have any questions about anything?
Just next week.
Excellent.
Just next week, Ollie, I can message you separately.
Yeah.
I'm coming out Tuesday, so see you Wednesday morning or something, I guess.
What time are you out Tuesday?
We arrive 3:05, so.
Okay, nice.
We'll get there.
We could even meet up in the evening if you want.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, and then figure out what
some food or something.
Yeah, what's the?
And then Jeff. Go on, Mike.
What's the forecast like, you reckon?
It changes a lot at the minute. It's up and down. When you get here, we should get, I think Wednesday it looks all right. And then Thursday it goes a bit down.
Yeah.
And then last time I looked, it's coming back. And then it was going down again. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the BBC and the Met Office seems fairly upbeat. But when you go on things like windsurf, it looks pretty, not a lot happening really. So, yeah, like you say, see what happens.
It is like, if you look, let's have a look at Winguru, what it was today. Today it was forecasting like in the gut, like 27, 28 in the gust 35. It was 45 in the gusts today was it maxed out at. So you can add 10 knots. And they say that is because the big volcano is here. And so the wind comes in this direction.
Yeah.
And then it gets accelerated as it comes around the volcano. And the forecast won't compensate for that. They do say it's sort of like +5 on whatever a forecast is.
Oh, okay.
As long as you've got the right direction. And the other direction is, and we've had this now, which was really good fun, is coming from the other direction. So it comes this way. And you get the same effect. It comes around the volcano and accelerates. But then it is like butter flat water. Like it's completely flat. So we had a good freestyle session, a lot of free riders out and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find out how? What does Danny want for the rental? Does he?
I've messaged him. I didn't see him today, so I'll see him tomorrow. But probably what we'll do, I'll sort something out, Mike. It won't be, and we'll just rent it per day that we use it as well. So if we don't do a week, he won't charge you for a week.
Yeah. Depending on see what the wind's doing.
He's only just started doing the rental. Like a couple of weeks ago, he started, and before that, it was just like you could just take it and test the gear for a couple of days. He didn't charge anybody for it, so I don't think he's overly bothered about making. It's not like Jens, where his business is to rent gear. Danny's got other ways, I think, in earning a living, and so he's not so bothered if we only do 4 days, he'll only charge us for 4 days.
I don't think I dare ask what are the other ways of earning this living. No. What are you doing out there, Ollie?
I'm right. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, on that note, I'm ending this call.
Yeah.
Bringing it down.
Did I see there was a social at Grimwith?
You doing it again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, come along, Rick. Yeah, come along, Big Dick. You'd love it.
Have you booked? Oh dear me. Have you booked some wind?
What sort of club is this?
You know what to do with windsurfing.
Dear.
Oh
dear, sorry.
Let me have a look. Here it is. Saturday, 13th
of
April.
Is it
open to non-members, George?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Is it,
you're all welcome.
Same format as last time?
Yes, just ask Ollie. We're not even bothering with videos or all that crap. We're just questions. And
it didn't work anyway, did it?
Yeah.
And can we stay overnight?
Yes, I think so. I need to confirm
a couple of beers and that.
Yeah, I'll check. I'll check on that.
That was good last time.
Oh, great! Yeah, it was nice to see you there.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we stayed over though. Be good. We could have a good night.
Yeah, if we could stay over, you get a lot of people. A lot of people would come up, I think.
You normally can if it's an event. It's almost certainly yes. So
yeah, I think
whenever there's an event,
that'd be good.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes, we've got that. I've got there's 2 UK clinics. There's one in March, one in April. They are on the website now, if anybody wants to join. And then there is the Kefaloss clinics. There's one Anglesey, which will be 1 day at Rossniger, 1 day at the Inland Sea. And then there is Freythorpe.
Where is this you're talking about, Ollie? Where is this? This March and April?
This is... I've got 2 clinics on, one in March, one in April.
I thought you were going straight to Greece. I thought you were going straight from there to Greece.
No. I'm here till 17th of Feb, and then I'm away for 3 weeks, and then I'm back in the UK for about a month. So we've got these on, and then there is also...
Are you going to keep an eye out for a forward clinic at that period, are you?
Yeah, that'll be... We'll try and get that in as well, Pete, if we can. We get some wind.
Good effort.
And then we've still got... There is the 2024 clinics for Greece as well.
Booked me holiday to Kefaloss.
Nice one, Rich.
Bye.
God save us.
July time it is. I'm coming out.
Fantastic.
So I'll obviously speak to you before then.
Yeah, no worries. Excellent, guys.
Sorry, Ollie, quick one. That price there, does that include the kit? 350?
No. Jens still hasn't done the gear prices for 2024, so I'm just going to do it without.
It's up there, Ollie. You can actually book with Jens now.
Oh, is it sorted now? I've not spoken to him.
I booked mine up for both September and May.
Which
Fantastic.
one in September are you going, Pete?
Sorry?
Which one in September?
I think it's the second one, but I can't be absolutely sure. Though I'm going for probably 10 days or 2 weeks or something.
Mm-hmm.
God, you're going to live there. You're living there, Pete.
I know. I'm looking at my 3 months.
There is, guys. There's going to be coming out. I think I've got it scheduled for next week. Is 10% off for you these clinics. If you've been before, there is a special price. So message me if you've been before and you'd like to come.
Ollie, do you need to know definitely? Because I quite like to go on one of the September ones, but I can't answer. I can't say for sure.
You tell me a bit nearer the time if you want. I can provisionally save you a spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nearer the time, nearer September.
Yeah. Just let me know whenever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Provisional. Yeah, there's provisional spot then.
Provisional spot. I'll pencil you in.
Pencil me in, please.
Fantastic.
Just remind me, Ollie, when the clinics are at Freythorpe.
Let me have a look.
It's on his
7th of April.
It's on his website.
6th and 7th of April. Right, lovely, thank you.
Yeah, and then Anglesey is 23rd, 24th of March.
That's a bit far, Anglesey.
Yeah, bit of a mission. You're going from the East Coast.
Yeah.
Cool stuff, guys. The most of it now is also bookable directly in the website.
Ooh.
Which is quite nice. Very professional, I thought.
Ooh.
Not biased
use
at
the
all.
book now a bit. Yeah. If you, like I said, there'll be an email going out next week. So if you're not on the email list, get on it, and that'll have the discount codes for the Kefalos camps. And if you've been before and you want a book, just message me, and I'll give you a different one. Yeah. Cool stuff, guys.
Have a nice holiday, whoever's going out. Jeff.
Yeah.
And
I'll see some of you this week.
Mike.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. See you next week.
Shall we see the video? Shall we see the videos next week then? Video week.
Yeah, so next week now will be video analysis. So if you go windsurfing this week, get some videos.
Yes, John Pickering. Bye.